Hey everyone, welcome to AskReddit. This channel is created for all of you Reddit lovers. If you like Reddit stories, this is the place where you'll find the best posts and comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. This story is called People Who Divorced Within 1 Year of Marriage. When did you know? The regret hit me exactly 0.5 seconds after I said I do. If there was a go back 5 seconds and undo a mistake button, that's where I would have used it. We never fought while we were dating. I lived 2 hours away, and we never so much as raised our voices at each other. She moved in 2 days before the wedding and woke up the day before the wedding angry. I suspected that it was an identical twin, and this was the night the evil twin murdered my fiance and took her place, because she woke up and started a fight every single day after that. It took 10 months to figure out why. Turned out, after moving in with me, she couldn't have a relationship with multiple guys anymore. She came home 2 months before our first anniversary with divorce papers and a positive pregnancy test. We hadn't been sleeping in the same room long enough that it could have been mine. I signed the papers and threw her stuff in the yard. She was gone that night. The day after the wedding, I immediately regretted it. We were married by a justice of the peace. I was working at a minimum wage job. I just graduated from college. On the day of the wedding, I received a job offer for an assistant manager position at an actual company for a lot better pay. I told my husband. After the ceremony, he looked at me weirdly. I had to start work immediately. The next day, I came home from work and he was at home, and he shouldn't be. He went to school in the morning and had to be at work from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. I asked why he was there. He said he withdrew from school and quit his job. He only had 1 year to finish. He said, "My wife is making big bucks," sarcastically. He had an issue once I earned more, and he completely changed. I got pregnant right away, had complications, and had to leave work. He immediately got a job and became nice again. After I had my child, I went back to work with another company and started making more than him. He quits again, always started fights. Then he became physically violent, and I left him before our first anniversary and immediately filed for divorce. I never belittled him or tried to make him inferior. He was only kind when he was in total control. I had a bad feeling leading up to the wedding. A lot of red flags flying at my face. He was refusing to work, drained my savings, maxed my credit card, and forced me to take out loans. If I told him he couldn't have my last $20 because I still needed lunch for the next week, he would threaten to commit suicide. I would often get calls from his parents asking for money back that he had borrowed from them. I had to borrow money from my own family to pay back payday loans he had taken out behind my back. He ended up in and out of the psych ward. Police showing up at our house looking for him after he threatened suicide to 911 operators. I had spent hours trying to follow his footprints in the snow out of our front door. 5 months after our wedding, he attacked me, trying to choke me out. I got out and called the police. They took me to my brother's house for the night. When I went home the next day, hubby had smashed everything in the house and turned it upside down. Every glass in the cupboard, every mirror, holes in the walls, even smashed the oven door. And then he left. I got an EPO and never spoke to him again, with one exception. I got his permission to get his 12-year-old dog back, since he is homeless now, and his parents were just keeping the poor dog in their garage. Finally, one I can answer. I knew when I was saying I do. My son's dad and I dated for a couple years. I met him at work, retail, when I was 16. This was my senior year of high school. We ended up breaking up almost a year later and had a one-night stand. I knew instantly that I was gonna get pregnant from it. He didn't pull out, I wasn't on the pill, young and dumb I was. I literally said to him, "If I get pregnant, I'm gonna kill you." I knew before I was even late, and a test confirmed it. We both come from really religious families, so we decided to get married at the courthouse. I took the afternoon off work. By then, I had an actual grown-up job, and realized how little thought I had put into this day. I hadn't even shopped for anything nice to wear. I ended up wearing a skirt and a cardigan that I would have worn to my office job. While at the courthouse, his grandpa made a joke about how I could tell my second husband that my first marriage took place in XYZ city. I was appalled at the comment, and it fueled the anger I was already feeling from realizing that I didn't want to do this. We tried to make it work, but ultimately I didn't love him. Our son was born, and less than a year after we married, I left and eventually filed for divorce. Thankfully, we have been successfully and peacefully co-parenting for over 13 years now. Moral of the story? Do not get married just because you or your significant other gets pregnant. If you're enjoying these Reddit stories so far, show your love by subscribing to this channel. And don't forget to leave a comment and tell me what you think about this video. Maybe you have a story of your own to tell us. My husband was married before. They were married about 2 months. When he went away to boot camp, and while he was gone, she sold all his stuff for drug money and ran off with a woman. And now he's married to me. I'm a guy. So I guess there was a lot of stuff going on in that relationship. By the way, we've been together 10 years in December, so a second marriage is not immediately doomed to fail. I realized that when I married a mama's boy of a crazy lady. She would yell at me for everything, and he always sided with her. She would show up at my house and scream at me for not hugging her tight enough, and forbid me from having children. She would say if I can't give her a proper hug, how would I be able to hug my children? When I asked my husband for help, he said, "No, you fucked up. You need to make it up to my mother." We carried on like this for a few months, but it got old real fast to be constantly walking on eggshells. I got yelled at for not using enough emojis when texting her, not saying good morning to her first thing, trying to get her son to try new foods, etc. The last straw was when she asked me why I didn't like her, and I said, "Well, you have a big bite, so I'm cautious around you. I'm sorry if that comes off as guarded." Her response, "You're right, I do have a big bite, but that's my personality, so I guess you don't like me. You hear that, Ben? Your wife hates your mother. What are you gonna do about it?" He told me after that his mother's backbone is too strong and he can't go against her. So I said I couldn't be with someone who can't defend me. So I left him. Thankfully, I was forbidden from having children, so it was an easy option. So when did you realize it was over? The night before the wedding. I just didn't want to be that woman who called the wedding off last minute, thus solidifying my role in our relationship, grinning and bearing it to keep other people happy while internalizing my utter misery. Happily out of that marriage and with a really good man now. When I found a bag full of used condoms next to my bed after being gone for work for a few days. The day after the wedding, I swear to God she was abducted by aliens and replaced by someone else. When I caught her having sex with her friend during the reception. He told me that God and Satan both talked to him and told him he was going to be instrumental in an upcoming battle between good and evil. It was unclear which side he would be taking. Not my story, but my dad's. First wife. The wedding goes as planned. The reception was wonderful. Cue the wedding night. In the process of consummating the marriage and the first time they had ever had sex, she bites his thigh. Literally takes a chunk out of it. She wanted to show him she was in charge. He got a divorce less than 2 months later. I knew it when she said, "I suppose," instead of "yes." Thanks again for watching today's episode of Reddit Stories. Leave a comment and tell me what you think about this video. Share your story, and if you want to see more of this, please like and subscribe to my channel.